بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين إلى يوم الدين أما بعد إذا لم تستحي فاصنع ما شئت. If you have no haya, if you feel no shame, then do as you wish. A person who doesn't have haya and modesty will do what they wish, how they wish, when they wish to. They will not look at Allah, the commands of Allah, His Rasul, or be shy of people around them. That's why it is said, modest is hottest. You decide. Modesty is actually the highest form of elegance. Allah has given the people of Iman this ni'mat and bounty of Islam, which promotes haya and modesty. As was said, everything that is exquisite hides itself. If you really have value, then the masturat of this ummah would have understood their value, and that's why they needed to be concealed. What is haya? Allama Ibn Hajar Asqalani has mentioned, Al-haya'u khuluqun yab'athu sahibahu ala ijtinabil qabih. The power of this haya is such a trait, it will motivate one to stay away from evil. وَيَمْنَعُ مِنَ التَّقْصِيرِ فِي حَقِّ ذِي الْحَقِّ, and it will prevent one from breaching the trust which you are entrusted with. There are three types of haya. Al-haya'u min Allah, to have haya from Allah. Istahi min Allahi istihya'aka min dhawil haybati min qawmika, where a person has haya from Allah. Secondly, al-haya'u min an-nas, la khayra fi man la yastahi min an-nas. There's no goodness in one who has no modesty from people. And number three, al-haya'u min al-nafs, wa huwa haya'u nufus al-sharifa. And this is such a haya, a modesty, where a person who is noble, yastahi min nafsihi, ay ya'ti bin nuqs. He will have this shame that he wouldn't want to see any deficiency in his honor, in his status. وَهَذَا أَكْمَلُ أَنْوَاءِ الْحَيَاءِ, and this is the climax of modesty, because if a person is shy of themselves, they will definitely be shy of others, and if they are shy of others, they will definitely be shy of breaking Allah's command and shy of Allah. وَلِبَاسُ التَّقْوَى ذَلِكَ خَيْرٌ, the clothing of taqwa, that's the best garment. فُسِّرَ لِبَاسُ التَّقْوَى بِأَنَّهُ الْحَيَاءُ. Hassan has said that taqwa here is haya, the clothing of modesty. Your clothing has been compared to modesty, like how your clothing conceals you. Modesty, bashfulness will conceal you. Like how your clothing will protect you, likewise modesty, shyness will also protect you. Like how your clothing, based on the time you will don that type of garment, Likewise, modesty in all situations. If a person is in a hot situation, cold situation, war situation, there's different garments for the needs of the time. Thus, haya will suffice for all the needs, dini needs, akhirat needs of insan. It will become a means of salvation. It will be a savior for this human being. And likewise, how clothing, there's different garments, different parts of the body. Likewise, the spirit, this ruh, also will be protected from being breached by shaitan. So haya is a constituent. It is a ingredient which can not be removed from deen. Batil will promote behayai, immodesty. They will remove, they will thrive on removing the chastity of the women of this ummah. But we have to remember that haya is not restricted to women only. It is also needed amongst the men of this ummah. So this purity of heart, purity of mind and soul, which haya will breed, and that's why it will start from the clothing being removed. And it was the effort of Iblis when Adam alayhi salatu wassalam was in Jannah to remove the clothing. When the clothing is removed, the next stage is zina becomes common. When zina becomes common, then the worst stage is where that zina is done in the public. Then the next stage is where incest, worst of crimes, becomes common, and Allah's azab and punishment becomes halal on that nation. So it starts with the clothing and it gets further off worse as time goes. And that's why we see batil in all aspects, from technology, from the porn sites, from the Hollywoods and the Bollywoods of this world. They utilize immodesty and romance and the dream, and it is a draw card. So we have to be very careful. It has gone to the maximum limits. They say there was a school teacher who asked the class what their parents did for a living. So a small child was innocent, said, "My mum is a substitute, my mother is a substitute." So the teacher knew the family background and said, "A prostitute." So the kid said, No, that's what my big sister does. My mother fills in when she's ill." So that has become it has become common. Nowadays, even the people of Iman have downloaded those apps and are searching for strangers, are searching for the platforms to commit zina and breach the modesty which Allah has endowed them with. So, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا, we need sacrifice, we need mujahada for deen to come alive. We'll have to put this nafs under control. The shortcut is always the long cut. This world is a place of mujahada, this world is a place of sacrifice, and we'll have to slaughter this nafs, slaughter our desires, slaughter our ambitions. Allah has endowed somebody with beauty, and she could go out and expound the beauty and let the world know how beautiful she is, but she needs to make sacrifice. And if she sacrifices her desires and her ambitions and she conceals herself, then she'll able to expose herself in Jannah with all the pleasures and enjoyments. A youngster was playing in a garden. He seen a cocoon hanging from the branch of a tree, and he seen a small hole appear from the cocoon. He seen something inside trying to struggle and to come out, but it was struggling. As he peeped, he seen the shape of a butterfly. Realizing I can be an assistant, he went into the kitchen, got a pair of scissors, came back and enlarged the hole in the cocoon. It was big enough for the butterfly to emerge, which it did. It tumbled out of the cocoon, fell to the ground, but it could not fly. Its wings were shriveled and its body swollen. The butterfly could not fly, weak and frail, and it died like that. When he got to school the next day, he inquired from his teacher, why did the butterfly not emerge and fly? So the teacher explained, it needed difficulty, it needed hardship, it needed to struggle. When it struggles, in its moments of struggling, then in the moments of freedom it will fly. Likewise, ad-dunya mazra'utul akhirah. This is the place of mujahada. This is a place of sacrifice. So like how the women folk need to be concealed, they need to make parda of their eyes. The men of the ummah also need to make parda of their eyes. They need to make parda of their hearts as well. Somebody was traveling with his wife on a plane. The passenger next door inquired, they got into a discussion, how come your wife is concealed? She cannot enjoy the beauty of the clothing that she has under her garments, etc., etc. So he asked him a question, if you have a diamond, where will you put it? Will you leave it on the street for everybody to see, or will you put it in a vault concealed? This person said, definitely it will be in a pouch, in a container, in a safe, concealed. So he said, likewise, the women of this ummah are jewels, and they need to be concealed and they need to be protected. If they are left on the street, they will be taken by strangers. Look at a jewel. Look at a jewel. It is just a stone. But what's so valuable about it? Why is it so exorbitant? Why is it so valuable? Why is it so sought after? So like how this jewel, the stone is preserved when we conceal it, it's put in a jewel case, it's put in a showcase, it's put in a safe for not everybody to touch, but only the special one, the owner, to touch. Likewise, Shariat has made it permissible for a husband to touch his wife. So there is value, and a valuable thing will have limited owners. Likewise, a rose also that is touched a lot will lose its luster, it will lose its beauty, it will wither away. Likewise, every woman should not be touched, and she is unlawful for everybody except whom Allah has given permission, and whoever touches her, there is severe punishment for them. And if she is allowed, she does allow anybody to touch her and violate her, then the consequences are also severe. What is the punishment for a person who is married and commits zina, adultery? Why is it so severe? Then a jewel does not look for people, people look for it. Likewise, a woman who is chaste and is concealed, people will seek her, the sealed. Likewise, a senior person of stature, a queen, the princess, not everybody has access to her. Why? Because she has high status. Allah has given high status to the women of this ummah. They are the queens and the princesses of this ummah, and that's why not everybody can touch her. So Batil will try to remove the clothing first. Ya Bani Adam, qad anzalna alaykum libasa. We have sent down to you clothing. Yuwari sawatikum warisha, so that you could cover yourselves, and the best type of adornment, وَلِبَاسُ التَّقْوَى ذَلِكَ خَيْرٌ. The best of adornment is the adornment, the libas of taqwa. So Allah has sent down clothing to cover shame and for beauty as an adornment in the parameters of deen. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using the word libas and rish. Libas, Allama Ibn Katheer has explained, refers to clothing that is used to cover up the satr, the private parts which Shariat has designated. And rish is the outer adornments for the purpose of beautification. So the first is essential and the second is complementary. So وَلِبَاسُ التَّقْوَى, Abdurrahman ibn Zayd ibn Aslam under this ayah has mentioned, when one fears Allah, Allah covers his errors, because he will not openly violate Allah's commands. Yes, a person makes a mistake, Allah will conceal their mistake. Hence, Allah used the word libasut taqwa. Abdurrahman ibn al-Harith ibn Hisham used to say, كُلُّ شَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْمَرْأَةِ أَوْرَةٍ. Everything of a woman should be concealed, because she is an aura. Her presence itself is an aura. We will not get into the fiqhi mas'ala, but to such an extent, فَإِذَا بَلَغَتِ الْجَارِيَةُ إِلَى حَدٍّ, if she reaches that level where her eyes can differentiate, وَتَشْتَهِي, and she has desires, she notices the male, she notices the opposite gender, satarat, then she should make parda. So she doesn't have to become baligh to go into parda. And thus a notion of hijab and niqab, the climax of a woman's beauty is her face. So that's part, when we say hijab, when we say parda, when we say satar, then the face of the woman should also be covered. Urwa ibn Zubair used to say, libasu taqwa khashyatullah. If you really had the fear of Allah, you would have not exposed your satar. Abdurrahman ibn Zayd ibn Aslam used to say that thus libasu taqwa yattaqillah, because he's got taqwa, he will cover his satar. Any person who exposes their satar is trying to say this is a sign that you are void of taqwa. And there are many ayat and virtues of the muttaqeen. Allah praises the women when they came to Musa alayhi salatu wassalam, فَجَاءَتْ إِحْدَاهُمَا تَمْشِي, that the one of the two came walking bashfully. So she was walking shyly. So Umar radiallahu anhu explains she was covering herself from them. Ja'at mustatira. She covered herself from them with the folds of her garments, and قائلة بثوبها على وجهها, and she covered her face. So face is part of the aura. She came walkingly, shyly, putting her garment over her face. She was not the one who was audacious and come and go as they please, as was the qawl of Umar radiallahu anhu. And when we look at the different aqwal of the ulama of haya, al-haya la ya'ti illa bi khair, haya will bring nothing but goodness, only goodness, haya will come in. So the propaganda of batil is to remove this concealment. The daughter bought a brand new iPhone, she got a screen protector with the phone. She showed the phone to her father, and the father said, "It's a nice phone, mashallah, how much did you pay for it?" $700, $20 for the cover, $5 for the screen protector. So I asked the daughter, "Why did you get the screen protector and phone cover? You could have saved $25. She said, "I spent $700 on the phone. What's the point if I don't spend $25 for its safety? And besides protection, it makes my phone look more beautiful." It is, so the father said, isn't not an insult to Apple that did not make the phone safe enough. So the father said, "No, Dad, they in fact recommend us to get a screen protector and the phone cover for its safety, and I didn't want to get it damaged." So the father says, "Does this reduce the beauty of the phone?" She said, "No, it makes it look more beautiful." So he told his daughter and smiled. He said, "I love you. You paid $700 for the phone, $25 for its safety. What is the point if you do not cover yourself with the niqab, cover your entire body for the safety? This phone will not be questioned in Akhirat, but my beloved daughter, you will be questioned, you will be answerable." May Allah give us tawfiq of making amal. The amal for today is Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala safil awwal. Allah and the malaika send salutations on the first row. Sahaba said, wa ala thani. What about the second saf? He said again on the first saf. Then they said wa ala thani. Then he said wa ala thani. We should try to be in salat in the saf awwal. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen.